Hi, this is Alex Helmbrecht, the Sports Information Director at Chadron State College. I'm sitting here this morning with Chadron State head football coach Jay Long. Coach, I apologize to you and to our listeners. It's actually the third week of the season. Usually I get you in here a couple times before now, but it's really been an interesting start to the season, a crazy 2 weeks, if you will. The Eagles opened their season on September 5th at Missouri S&T, and so the team, including myself, left on Tuesday morning. Then we got back late Friday morning, and then went about our normal work week. And then had to leave again on Tuesday to go down to Dallas to play West Texas A&M. So we host Mesa. It's the home opener for Family Day this weekend. But I'm sure you're happy just to kind of be back in a routine with those first two Thursday games now that they're done.
You know, we did that on purpose. When we first got a call last year about playing in Dallas Cowboys Stadium, they said it was going to be on a Thursday night game. Then Missouri S&T called about 2 weeks later, and I said, well, we sure like to play on a Thursday night. So we played on two Thursdays, and then what that allows us is give us another couple more days to help prepare for our conference, which is against Mesa here.
Well, as our fans know, the Eagles are 1-1, earned a really tough, gritty win over Missouri S&T in double overtime. Lane Haller sealed it with a 79-yard interception return. It was really a great play. Talk a little bit about that game. That was one of those games where your team, particularly your defense, kind of grew up.
You know, when you look at that game, I mean, we played against a good team. They were 10-1 last year. They just missed the playoffs. Their conference champion in their conference ended up beating last week the number 6 team, the top 10 team in the country. So they play good football. And when we went down there, we felt like we didn't start the game like we needed to, but we finished it. And when you look at that game, you know, there was a lot of ups and downs. We call them the roller coaster ride. And as we look at our game, we want to be as consistent as possible. And I was really proud of the guys for that game to find a way to win. And
then that was followed by arguably one of the more anticipated games in Division II so far this year. The Eagles played West Texas A&M. The Buffs were, of course, the team that knocked Chadron State out of the playoffs last year in 2012. So there was already a lot going into this game. Both teams were fired up to play. Throw in the fact that it was on a Thursday night. It was a nationally televised game on CBS Sports Network, the Division II game of the week. Oh, yeah, and it was played in Dallas Cowboys Stadium. There was a lot on the line for that game.
You know, that game was really a fun atmosphere for our guys. I mean, it isn't something that you get to say every day that you played in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And when you look at the atmosphere of it, the atmosphere was just wowing. When our guys, we practiced on our walkthrough the day before on Wednesday, and when we went in, there was a great picture caught of our guys were behind this big rolling garage door. And as the rolling garage door went up, you guys caught the picture of it. It was just and you see all of our guys with their cell phones and you know, taking pictures of the stadium, and it's just, like I said, a wowing experience. When you go into the game, you know, we looked at one of our things was starting strong because we felt like we didn't start strong the week before, and that game we started about as strong as we possibly could, scoring on our first two offensive plays and our first defensive play. We created a takeaway. So when you look at it, our start was really good. Our first quarter, second quarter, third quarter was all good football. Going into that fourth quarter, we had about a 2-touchdown lead, and we ended up squandering away. And when you look at it, we played in the past 2 years that I've been here, we've been in 14 games. We played 14 games, and out of those 14, 7 of them came down to the fourth quarter. And when you look at it, the 3 that we've lost is 2 against West Texas and 1 against Pueblo. And we need to figure out how to finish those big games. And, you know, that's something that we've really put a stress on this week.
Well, I know you and your coaching staff really emphasize to the players and all those involved with the program, after a loss, you have 24 hours to deal with it. Once that day is through, we're on to the next game. And certainly that was a hard one to swallow. A lot of the guys on the team that I've seen and the coaching staff members that I've talked to, it's in the past. The Eagles are still 1-1. We're still ranked in the top 25. And really, one of the main goals for every team is having a chance to win the conference title. That starts this weekend with Colorado Mesa here. Both teams will open their RMAC play here. And as you mentioned, those tough games in the fourth quarter, one of them was last year. Mesa at their place, the Eagles and the Mavericks had a really good game going. Fourth quarter, the Eagles pulled away. So I'm sure you're really emphasizing starting strong and finishing strong.
When you look at it, the Missouri S&T game was such a high, feeling getting that win on the very last play, an interception in in overtime, and then when you look at this last week, it was one of the emotionally lows. So we went from here to here, and at the end of the day, as a coaching staff and as a team, we said it's a 24-hour rule. Whether or not we won or we lose, we have 24 hours to celebrate or 24 hours to sulk in it. And after those 24 hours were over, then we focused on the next game. And right now it is family day, and we are excited to perform in front of our families, and we're also excited to start off our conference play, because when you look at it, that's one of our goals is to come out strong in the RMAC and you'll finish on the top.
As Coach mentioned, that is a noon kickoff. It is family day. The parents and loved ones of the Chadron State Eagles will be announced prior to the game, about 20 minutes before the game. So if you're a parent listening to this, be sure around 11:30, 30 minutes on the game clock to meet in the east end zone, and we'll get your names announced there. Coach, real fast about Colorado Mesa. The Mavs enter the game 1-1 overall. They opened the season with a 34-0 loss, a 34-0 victory at Menlo College, and then that was followed by a 26-0 loss at Montana State. Montana State, of course, is one of the top teams in FBS. What have you seen about this team on film, and what sort of problems do they present the Eagles?
When you look at it offensively, they run an option scheme where their quarterback and they run a zone option scheme. And last year they gave us little fits with that. This year we're excited to try a few new things on them to help prevent and stop that. Defensively, Coach Hours, their defense coordinator, he's been roaming the Chadron State sidelines for 20-plus years. What you've seen in those 20-plus years, the same thing you're going to see on Saturday. He's going to see a defense that flies around. They're an odd front, which means they leave typically most of the time they leave the guards uncovered, and he likes to bring a lot of pressure. And when we look at it as a team, we got to make sure that we are sound and win on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
The Mesa is led by two Jakes. Jake Semolino, a tailback, really one of the better ones in the conference. Averages 7 yards a carry so far. He's rushed for 212 yards this season, so he has certainly the 2013 campaign off to a nice beginning. And then Jake Edmondson, a linebacker for Mesa, leads the team with 26 tackles. As you mentioned, Coach, there's a lot of flying around going. What other sort of fronts will you see from Coach Hours' defense? A lot of blitzes and stuff like that.
Yeah, when you look at it, their defense is led by that linebacker. He's a guy that's a lot like, I would say, like Kevin Lindholm was for us last year, a big, tall, slender kid that can run sideline to sideline. And he makes a lot of plays, and he's a guy that we definitely got to know where he's at on the football field. As far as their running back, the other Jake, him and Glenn were both preseason all-conference picks, and we all know what we think of Glenn, and this kid's in that same caliber.
Well, it should be a fun game. Parking is going to be at a premium. I believe the players have been asked to park at the softball field, so they'll kind of walk down to the locker room. There's a lot of parking open around the field. Unfortunately, there isn't any behind Armstrong. However, if you're planning to tailgate, there's a patch of asphalt down there in the southeast corner that you're going to be there. There'll be 3 entrances into the stadium, so if any questions, don't talk to Coach Long on pregame. Maybe try to find some member of the Chadron State Athletic Department. We'd be happy to help you. But family day, it'll be a wonderful atmosphere, and I know everyone is looking forward to having that home season start. I know I'm certainly glad to be home.
Yeah, and we really appreciate our fan support. We've been talking about it for 2 weeks. It'll be nice when we get back home, and we are ready to be at home, and we're going to start painting the field on Thursday, and that's kind of what starts stating that we're at home, and our guys want to show our home fans what we're about.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you.